The Alfalfa
Been my
podcast
long
is
still in
a
the
little
money.
different than Bankless. We don't mind pulling up the charts. I hopefully won't get chided for it by the Bankless community. That's for sure.
No. Bankless community loves the charts. It's me and Ryan that are like shitty at it. So we don't pull up charts in like self-preservation.
Yeah. All right. So, David, you have a full calendar for the whole evening, don't you? You have, let's see, it's 10 p.m. there. We
So we
have
got 3 hours to merge. Yeah.
3 hours till merge. You have an Ethereum Foundation live stream. And are you going to be a co-host at any point? You're going to join? You're going to hop in the conversation?
Yeah. So it's me and a group of other people. It's on the EF YouTube, but it's actually not hosted by the EF because the EF doesn't do that kind of thing. So we're just like we've gotten access to the YouTube, and so we're kind of like taking it over.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
there's like
community-led.
a programming. Yeah, it's community led. Yeah. So there's a program. I have a small part of it. I'm explaining what is the merge. Actually, I guess that's a relatively big part. But then after that, it's people who are closer to the core devs and closer to ETH staking are going to lead it from there. And like, I was thinking about this, like, oh yeah, it's like the EF merge, everyone's gonna watch it. But then I was realizing, like, no, wait a second, like the world is gonna watch this goddamn thing. Like political leaders, governments, like tech companies, like damn, there's gonna be so many eyeballs on this thing.
Yeah, you said in our text thread that you would never take on such a responsibility, but like I feel
Of
like you would be
hosting it,
of hosting. I feel like you would be one of the most proper to host. Sure, there's some technical things that maybe it might help to have a dev in the weeds with you, but you could certainly carry the bag. I think, my friend.
Yeah, it was mostly a joke of like, am I technically capable of like hosting the EF YouTube? Yes, I am, but also it needs to be like credibly neutral. So they're in the same way that Ethereum doesn't want to pick winners. Like we don't want to pick who gets to host the stream. So we just give it to the EF, and then we all just show up.
All right. David, I've been seeing, I don't know if you watch CNBC or Bloomberg, but one thing, I watch CNBC and keep an eye on it from time to time. And one thing that's been bugging the hell out of me is they've had two people specifically in like recurring different segments explain the merge, or I guess give commentary on the merge. And it's Anthony Scaramucci and SBF. They combined forces recently. I think SBF, kind of saved Scaramucci's hedge fund there. But there's definitely been some lacking expertise on commentary on the merge, specifically on these mainstream financial channels, and it's just been frustrating. I'm curious, have you or Bankless ever been requested to show up on some of these mainstream media channels?
Not any of like the big ones, not like CNBC.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see you on CNBC.
I think the answer is no.
I don't know if David would do it. Would you do it?
Oh, 100%. I'd 100%
okay, good.
do it.
All right.
Yeah. Like we got to get the information out, and you're totally right. Like there are people that are being asked to like comment on the merge that don't know about the merge. And like there's this game of like, connections, and sometimes people like in that world, CNBC just like, all right, like here's a crypto thing. Who do we know that knows crypto? And so they just go to their nearest crypto person.
They go to the CEO of Bitwise. Did you see? I was watching this morning just for normal TradFi stuff, and I saw a commercial come on with like the CEO of Bitwise explaining the merge in like 20 seconds to boomers. It was like so awful. It was like cringy.
The CEO, yeah. I actually don't know the CEO of Bitwise. Bitwise could be like, there could be way worse people to explain the merge than the CEO of Bitwise. But yes, like they still haven't found the core of like Ethereum to be able to do this.
You talked about this with Justin Drake, I think, yesterday, but it seems like the narrative that people are mainstream media that is picking up the most is clearly the energy efficiency, kind of like the green angle. And I figured that might be the one. And it's also maybe just maybe the easiest one to understand, the one that is most evident most quickly. Do you think that's why, or is that actually the most important to this broader like investment community, you think?
A little bit of both, right? That's the answer that like is emotionally resonant with a lot of people. Like, oh, this, like, I understand Bitcoin. I know this proof of work thing. It consumes a lot of energy. there's this Ethereum thing that does like these NFTs, and it also is proof of work. Oh wait, no, it's proof of stake soon, and it's gonna be hella green. I can resonate with that. Whereas like that's the outside like process, like proof of work go away, proof of stake new cool thing. It's innovative. There's those crazy super coders that are doing their weird things out there. Once you are a crazy super coder, then you understand ultrasound money and realize like that's actually the bigger thing. But
Right.
Understanding ultrasound money is like 3 or 4 layers deep, and understanding like green energy consumption is like 1 layer deep. And so that's what they explain on the mainstream. And like they're not wrong. It is like a very significant part of the merge. It's just not, it's almost there. It's just not quite.
For people who are in the Ethereum community, it's almost like a very positive side effect or byproduct of this like security update. And I think it's we know it's good. We know it's going to help like the long-term awareness of Ethereum and certainly give it a much broader audience. But I'm curious what the next narrative that will get picked up. I think the
Price.
more energy efficient angle will get picked up first, but I'm wondering which will be the next one. I have a feeling it might be the yield, just the fact that we have an asset that could potentially be the settlement layer for the internet, and it produces a real yield. And I wonder if that's going to be the one that they're going to pick up next. I don't know. Do you have kind of feelings which way mainstream media will go next?
I have no clue.
Yeah,
I have no clue after this one. I think like the most logical one is as soon as this starts to show up in the price, then it's that one. But this price has to do something within like 3, 4, 5 months or something.
Okay, so here's the question.
Guys, hold on. You guys are talking about like deep technical shit here, and that's fine. But can we like lighten the mood up a little bit here?
Eric and I had something a little different in mind. I got all fucked up from this streaming, so now we're going to pivot back to what we had in mind. I can't believe this, by the way. The first stream, of course, it has to go wrong. But go ahead.
Okay, so what I was thinking was like this is for David especially, but also for us. This is like a birthday party, a Super Bowl, like all these big moments
World
wrapped into one. But like this weekend is another merge of sorts. It's my wedding that you will all be joining us for. I'm very excited. But Armand was already out here, and today we went on a really magical adventure. And Armand has some alfalfa of his own. So like we typically do like an alfalfa round, and what we really wanted to share was like some alfalfa from this hike in particular. And I think you guys are really gonna love it. Do you have it queued up for screen share?
Let's kick off the alfalfa round. So
I have it queued up. Should I go last? Let's do a proper alfalfa round.
Let's have Armand go last because this is so good.
Okay. All right.
All right. So typically in our podcasts, especially our money episodes, we do a little alfalfa round, and it's basically the trades, the money moves that we made in the last week. And so I'll kick it off. I continue to hold the
not
SPY
always money,
puts.
sir. Some of us are very
not always
nonconformist
money
about that.
That's true. Sometimes we get some life alfalfa, which Armand, I have a feeling, is going to come heavy with this week. So I continue to hold the SPY puts, which some of them finally cashed in the green as of, yesterday.
Oh, yeah. When Dow goes down 1,000 points. Congratulations, sir.
Oh, that was nice. That felt good. The general public equities portfolio was down bigly, but successfully hedged about 60% of losses. So I don't know if that's good in terms of hedging scores from 0 to 100.
Happy for you.
Well, yeah, I can't wait to hear Steven's alfalfa round. He's been taking a bath. But I did close out some shorter expiration puts, and I'm going to recycle some of that cash into some RK puts. Those look very juicy to hedge.
Oh, yeah, we're riding those to Valhalla, baby.
Oh, yeah, baby. So anyway, those are the moves from the last week. None of them crypto-related this week, but probably next week there will be some. And I don't know, maybe we'll do some ones live on this live stream. I deposited a little funny money into DYDX for funsies, so we'll see what happens.
We trade the 1 minute charts?
Yeah, I might pull up the 1 minute chart because it is kind of entertaining. We do have a nasty 1 hour candle that's not treating us so well right now. But Steven, why don't you go next and let us know what's going on with you?
Yeah, so Monday night, with like 80% of my net worth in Ethereum, I was like sitting at home having a drink, and I said to myself, you know what I should do? I should put 100% of all my cash into Ethereum. So I bought it like I don't know, I probably bought it like 1740 or something, and then I was just lying in bed all night, just waiting for Santa to come. And I kept waking up in the middle of the night, like dreaming that the CPI came in. I had like 5 different dreams where I thought the CPI came in, and I was just, it was fake. It was me dreaming. And then I woke up and I was just absolutely wrecked. So I woke up this morning and I decided to choose violence, and I put in like a very high leverage order at like 1560 or something on FTX, and just so I'm just riding that trade and watching it in the background right now.
Did you bottom tick that?
I got very close to the second bottom tick, not like the initial sort of like swing failure, but like the kind of retest of it after. Yeah. So feeling pretty cushy, although I accidentally closed the chart, so I can't see what's going on right now. I only have Nick's face.
Dude, Steven, speaking of your dreams,
Do you want me to bring back the chart? Would it make you happy?
Yeah,
Steven.
You guys showed the chart for like 3 seconds, and the Bankless chat was like, "Oh my God, there's a chart!" Yes.
All right, we're going back. We're going back, boys.
Like the charts.
All right, we're going back to the chart.
In our Discord, Steven's been sharing his his different scenarios, forecasts for different asset classes and like the macroeconomy at large. And the other night I had a dream about Steven's forecast. Like one of his forecasts came absolutely true. And I don't know if that's prophecy or if that's just I'm spending way too much time with you guys. But I feel like what I did, my alfalfa for this week, I'm always selling puts to generate income. And this week I tightened it up so much. I'm selling the 1500 level, which is like rare for me. I'm usually going for like picking up nickels at like the 1200 or the 1000 strike. And this week I'm like happy buying the 1500, even if I lose them.
Good luck with that. Oh damn, that was a little perfect retest to get long there. I didn't even see that.
Well done.
Yeah, Steven's gonna take a pause
David,
and go make trades.
I should have compounded. Damn.
Oh God.
Are you still talking about this chart?
Yeah.
Armand can't wait to go.
I hope it works. First thing I wanted to do failed, so hopefully the screen share works because I have to show you guys.
Oh God.
Are you ready for it?
All right,
Or do you want to talk through this, Nick?
I'm gonna stop sharing, and we'll go to your.
Well, let's go back to that. Let's go back to that after. So, for my alfalfa this week, so first of all, we went on a fucking ridiculously challenging hike.
This hike difficulty level is extreme. I don't know how else to put it. It's like experts only. I wrote that in the invite. Experts only.
He did, to be fair. And actually, if I may share, holy shit, you guys got to see this guy's gene pool. His dad, 73, did the hike today. He did it with us. And so the whole time I'm just like, oh my God, like life goals. Like when I'm his age, like I got to be a gazelle. Like he literally gazelled up this mountain. It was unbelievable.
Very John Hoffman-esque.
That's true. So we go on this incredible hike. Absolutely beautiful. Really did. Actually, you were right. It reminded me of New Zealand. And, we're scaling the Teton, the Grand Teton, right? And we're coming up to like the base of it, or I don't know what the technical area that we were exactly, right, Eric? We go all the way up this thing, and it's quite the arduous climb to the top. We get there. It's beautiful. The sun is out. The water is just turquoise and just like reflective, and everyone's having a moment, having their beer, eating their sandwich. And then all of a sudden I remember, I'm like, man, high elevation. This is where you really got to absorb the sunlight. You really got to like expose yourself. So the alfalfa community knows, especially in our life channel of our Discord, that I don't know, a few weeks ago brought up this question of like, hey guys, is anyone out there like into this taint ball tanning movement.
No.
Yes. And so it's been like a meme, and I'm pretty sure that most people in the community think that I do this, which I actually don't have any problem with, because I don't care. It's just another pseudoscience trend. Why not, you know? And I realize, I'm like, okay, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity. So this is what I do, a 10,000 elevation. Hopefully this fucking,
God, I hope
hopefully
this works. Please,
Oh,
I hope
God.
this works.
All right.
Ryan's gonna log in and
do I
pull
need
this
to-
so
Do I need
fast.
to put something else on the screen here so
two,
that I don't get my?
one.
No,
Oh,
this is
God.
please.
No.
See this? Balls out, perineum. Look at that view. Look at that photo. Like, even just without me and ball tanning,
Happy baby.
happy baby
I
mode,
mean-
just fully letting it out. So you guys should try this as well.
Well,
It
happy
is-
Merge
it is
Day to you.
good.
I really appreciate your celebration.
Happy Merge Day,
Did you
everyone.
guys think we were going to talk technical analysis, or what was the deal here? This is what we wanted.
Testosterone is off the charts right now.
High test. High test.
Oh my God.
So you're
I'm
welcome.
feeling juiced right now.
Oh yeah. No, literally, I've been high tea all day.
There's no better place on earth, I
was
think,
put on
than
a
David-
bankless
than
stinger.
there to really go happy baby
To tan
bottomless.
your genitals. Yes. So shout out to
So-
Carnivore Aurelius if you're not following him. Great page on Instagram. He's the one that inspired that. I'm gonna have to tag him in that.
All right. Well, David, Ryan's logging into the Bankless YouTube to immediately pull this live stream off.
nobody has dared
I was
do
running
things
the
like
bankless stinger. I put on the stinger, so there was like a bankless logo just rotating.
No,
As soon as I
people
saw
didn't get
that.
to see that.
No, for a little bit.
Okay,
There
just
were-
for
there was a
live.
sighting. Don't worry.
I think
was
it's
good.
necessary that people saw that.
Absolutely.
Well, David, can you somehow follow that with the
I'm
Alfalfa
wondering
round?
why the bankless listeners are 95% male. Jesus Christ.
we have quite a few women these days. We have quite a
Hey,
few.
Emma liked it. Okay.
Yeah.
David, the last time you shared
David,
your alfalfa on an alfalfa round, you sent a token price like up 300%. So are you trying to do
Yeah,
something
you
like
guys
that
like that?
again, or where are you at?
No, now it's all like the ETH BTC trade, man. That's the fun one.
So I did want to ask you about this. It did dip down to 0.075. Did you dip your toes back in? Did you get a little?
Did I buy more?
Did you buy more? It looked like a good place
No.
to buy. Although at the time it was
It-
dropping, certainly wasn't
Yeah.
feeling confident.
Should have. I bought more at 0.08, which is like already high, but it's one of those things where like in the grand scheme of things, like I'm trying to sell this when like Ether is like 2 to 3x Bitcoin's market cap. So like 0.08 in the grand scheme of things is nothing when I'm going to be selling it like 0.25.
Ooh, I like that
so-
number.
Yeah, right. 0.25 is a good number. So I bought more at like 0.8. Watched it drop down to 0.75. I'm like classic David getting bullish as it's going up in price. Like I mean, I bought my first position at 0.07 and then like white knuckled it down to 0.055 and then walked it back up. And so
Good man.
I mean, there's no. I could go down to like 0.055 again. I'd be like, all right, what the fuck? And then I'll just hold it.
Guys, just so you know,
This is a long-term hold for you.
hold on. Just so you know,
18
Armand and I
months
are
is
in the
my-
same
is my
room right
time
now.
frame, yeah.
He can't see this, but behind him, my fiance is giving me the worst looks of all time. She told me I couldn't jump on this stream, and she told me that I had until 8:30 our time, which it just ticked, and like I have to go just for the sanctity of my life and my future marriage. I think I have to. Like
No,
the
well,
looks are strong.
What was the
But,
quote that
do you have any
Stephen gave
alfalfa,
us?
Nick, on whether or not I should go or stay?
Well, Stephen had a good quote that I think provides a lot of wisdom for this moment. What
please,
was the
Stephen.
quote, Stephen?
The floor is yours.
Oh, I said the average man gets married multiple times, but the merge is only once.
Ooh, I love that.
I hope you guys
Fiancés
like
love
that.
that.
I hope you guys like ruining
I'm
my
sure
life
she'll
for a
understand.
freaking joke.
You have the real merge. All right, are you really bouncing?
Wait. Wait, do you really have to go?
He
sorry.
really does.
I really do. Well, we have like 11 other people that are waiting on us to get off, for me to get off this thing so we can go out. So I actually do have to go. But you guys keep going.
We're at the start of a podcast.
But it's been a lot of fun, and guess what, guys?
Mobile, bro.
Well, we're
it's on
gonna
mobile app,
celebrate
too.
the merge tonight. We're gonna be at the Cowboy Bar in Jackson Hole, and we'll be
World
celebrating.
famous.
We'll be celebrating all weekend together. You guys get out here soon, tomorrow, I think. So it's gonna be great, guys.
Well,
Friday.
Just let Mina know that this abandonment will definitely show itself in your guys' wedding present. So
I'm gonna bring this up when I get
People
to
don't forget.
Jackson Hole. Hey Mina,
We're gonna miss
I was
you.
having the time of my life, and I got rugs.
Rugs.
You
To
know,
hang
rug
out
this.
with your
There had to
not
be
even
some
yet
kind
of rug
husband.
tonight. There had to be some kind of rug.
I'm
All right, I
changing
love
your
you
wedding
guys.
gift to a
You guys
rug.
keep it
You're
going.
literally getting a rug in the mail.
Love you, Eric.
I'll watch
Just
you.
do a slipper.
I'll
Just
watch
a
you on the
quiet-
recording.
Yeah,
Love you guys.
yeah. Just tune into YouTube Live. Keep watching.
Yeah, I'll be watching YouTube Live in the bar. This is amazing.
No, download Riverside Mobile and just join mobile
Ooh,
from the bar.
David
Yeah.
always has a tech hack.
I hope
I love
Crisp
that.
app can like drown out the freaking live country music.
Maybe there will be some people at the $1 Million Cowboy Bar talking merch. That could be.
Yeah.
This would be
Can you please walk into the bar and be like, merge? And
merge.
just see who like looks
Yeah,
around.
first thing merge. Everyone's like, "Excuse me."
Oh yeah, Ethereum. Yeah,
Son, are
tonight.
you lost? Oh man.
All
right,
you
Eric,
guys,
we're gonna
we'll-
replace you
we'll
with a
see very
chart.
soon. You
Okay.
guys keep it
Sorry.
going.
Barrick.
Don't
Love
make
you.
me sad.
Eric's gonna
All
be
right.
chart. I like that.
all right, let's take a look at the chart. I want to see what's
No.
going on.
Let's do it.
Rip.
Maybe Steven, you're the big boy trader out of all of us. I got a little high time frame situation going on here
Ooh,
on
I
this
already know
chart.
what that chart is. I don't even need to look at that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you have judgment on my chart setup here? I kind of have like a rookie chart setup. I got 20-week moving average. I got a 200-week moving average, a 300-week, and I have a very special volume profile setup going on to see
How
where
clean
the
is that
action is.
300 test, by the way? Doesn't it?
Oh, that is a
make you
nice,
feel good?
clean test. May not happen again, my friend.
Yeah. Am I allowed to say bearish things on this podcast? I was trying to keep it good vibes only.
Yeah, it would be a first for the Bankless YouTube, but yeah.
Speak from the heart.
Good vibes day, Steven. It is a good vibes
Up
day.
only. Up only.
No. I want you to speak from the heart and from the wallet. Continue.
Oh my God, I love this
Uh,
comment. Eric, put your foot down. You can't let it start like this. Sorry, I'm just catching up on the chat here. All right.
No, I mean, when I look at some of the higher time frames, it seems like there's a lot of air, kind of below us. I'd be very shocked if we don't retest
Touch
like
that again.
1200.
Yeah.
Like, I would be very shocked, especially given macro. I think the question to me isn't so much like, are we going to go down? I think we almost certainly are going to go down because the world is kind of fucked. But the question to me is like, is ETH going to hold like 1,000, 1,200, 1,300, and then Bitcoin just nukes to 14 or 12 or just something devastating, which I think is like a pretty high probability. I mean, like the writing's been on the wall for a while, in my opinion, right? Because even like the sell-off we had last summer, right? After price nuked, if you pulled up the ETH and the Bitcoin chart, like the Bitcoin chart looked like absolute death. It looked like it was going straight to zero. And then the ETH chart looked pretty good. And then ETH ended up running way higher than Bitcoin. And then we did the same thing this summer with the nuke. And initially, ETH kind of sold off pretty badly. And then all that smart money came in, bought it up. And then obviously, Bitcoin's basically the same freaking place it was. And ETH's on its way to Valhalla right now. So I don't know. I think all the Bitcoiners are definitely whistling past the graveyard. I think some of the ETH people are maybe doing the same with the macro stuff right now. But I'm not going to sell everything because I just think predicting macros.
My God,
hard.
is the ETH BTC ratio back up to 0.08?
Oh, we're there, brother. Let me
wow,
zoom in
what
for
a
you here.
recovery! Wow. Wow, so strong.
It looks so good. I feel like as an ETH person right now, you want to probably just be expressing your bullishness and like spread trades, honestly. Like I'm probably going to cut half of my spot ETH position and replace it with spread trades, like ETH BTC or ETH some other alts. Like it's very hard for me to see how ETH doesn't at least just ruin everything within
God,
the
look at
crypto
that
space
pin
over
bar
next year.
on that last candle. Holy
So good.
shit.
So this is the weekly candle, by the way. So this is kind of a high time frame look. If we want to look a little closer, let's look at the daily and see what happens here.
Someone's asking about the indicator on the right, which is a very important indicator. So I think people should know about this thing.
That's
Yeah, why
volume,
don't you go
right?
ahead and explain it, Stephen? That's a good one to go through.
Yeah, that's the volume profile. So the people are used to volume, right, where it shows you just the overall amount traded on that day on the bottom. The volume profile basically shows you the amount traded at all of those levels for like the range that you have visible there. So that's the volume profile visible range. So I love this thing because it shows you like where people are trading, right? When price tends to move, like you see that, this is what I'm talking about there. You see that big gap, you get that huge kind of spike out above that range breakout, and then there's just like an air pocket. It just probabilistically speaking, you have to think that we are going to maybe hit the wall at this kind of 2K level. Maybe we already did, and kind of retest down there. Like price tends to move back towards where there's demand, and that was the last place there was substantial demand, and nobody wanted to bid it. You know, there wasn't a lot of activity in between there. So I think it's super useful. If you're a bull, what you're hoping for is that the merge delivers you some breakout above this like 2K region, right? Like if we can confidently get above this and hold it, you'll see there's like another large base of support there. And if you zoom even way out, like on the higher time frame, you'll see there's tons of support there. So if we can do that, like that could be like the ledge. See that little spike there? So if we hold in that range for a bit and accumulate there, that's the bull case, right? I think is that post-merge, we have our ups and downs, our volatility, but we settle above 2K and like accumulate in that range there, and then you're on like a moon mission.
I mean,
I think it's probably more likely we go lower though.
Yeah, Steven. So, I did notice I was looking at today and just figuring out if I want to play this at all just for fun. But, this little spike out of the volume profile, I don't think it's by chance that we've been hovering around this like 1590 to 1620 range, because there's a lot of volume that's been battled out over this price. So I think it's not by luck that we're hovering around here to see what's happened. I do get a little echoes of Ben Cohen when I see this like 20-week moving average kind of like going up above it, trying to test it, but falling back through. And about a month ago we did the same. And time will tell whether we get above back of this and kind of move forward past merge.
Yeah, I don't like to predict things with certainty. I do think the bottom is probably in, but I also think that people seem to be bad about like weighing the sideways probabilities. Everybody's like up, down, and nobody's pricing in, oh, we trade between 1,000 and 2,000 for like 2 years or something, which is definitely possible, even if the bottom is in, and that would be very painful for a lot of people. A lot of people get chopped up and wrecked along the way there. So you have to consider that. But I mean, I think anything you buy sub 2K or over, any reasonable time frame is going to be a good buy, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But yeah, I don't like to think in certainties.
David, have you guys talked about, I haven't heard it on any recent episodes except the one with Arthur Hayes about net liquidity. Has that been the only episode where folks on the Bankless podcast have talked about net liquidity?
Yes, I think we've talked about it adjacently.
Okay.
One of the big topics I think that was relevant to this was coming out in this big 2022 downtrend from January to June is like, okay, the inflation hedge narrative is gone from Bitcoin, so what is it? And it turns out like Bitcoin was just a liquidity sponge, which I think is adjacent to what you're talking about, net liquidity, right. But we didn't attack the subject head on.
Yeah, so I mean, Stephen, you mentioned that the world is kind of going to hell and macro, but I do think it's important to kind of like dive a little deeper into what we mean by that, because a lot of people have been throwing that a word around, certainly quite a bit. But one thing we've been keeping an eye on is this idea of net liquidity, which is looking at the Fed balance sheet, subtracting the reverse repo facility balance, and then subtracting the U.S. Treasury general account balance, and trying to figure out how much money, specifically U.S. dollars, is swimming around the system. And you find a really tight correlation, not only with S&P, but Bitcoin price as well. It seems like crypto kind of leads this as well. And so, Stephen, when you said macro is going down, were you alluding to like we're at the beginnings of a longer liquidity down cycle, or were you thinking of something else?
I mean, yes, there's a lot of things in macro, right? Obviously, liquidity is a big thing. Interest rates play a role as well. But then, obviously, like earnings are eventually going to be something that hits the stock market, and that's going to be a drag in all likelihood. There's a lot going on there. I do think, like I tweeted about this the other day in that Darius thread, where I was like, he's got all this research out where he's like pointing out like this kind of bull and bear case for liquidity at the end of the year, and he's basically showing how like a $500 billion difference in like how much liquidity the Fed allows into the system is the difference between like 35K and 12K Bitcoin. And I pointed out like, well, we just basically printed 500 billion with the student debt thing alone. Like, is that something you have to consider as well? I feel like people aren't talking about fiscal right now, and kind of rightfully so, because the near term tightening is obviously wrecking us. But the fiscal stuff is sort of like the macro equivalent of the ETH issuance reduction, right? It's just like every day they're pumping out all this like new money into the world, and nobody's looking at it because they're watching the Fed and interest rates. And meanwhile, the government is just printing money and throwing out incentive programs. Like eventually, all that is going to come home to roost, and you're gonna want to own stuff like ETH, or I don't know, if you're a Bitcoiner, you could make an argument that Bitcoin is going to be a liquidity hedge there too. And I don't know when that kind of inflection point is going to be, but it's something people should be thinking about, because I do think we're going to keep on printing from what I can tell.
Yeah, this has kind of been one of my thoughts with like the bear market. Everyone says like, oh, but the bear market, or excuse me, the macro market's so bad. Macro market's bad. I'm like, yeah, macro market's bad, but there's like a plenty large window for the macro market to be bad and that to be bullish because of money printing. And so like macro bad isn't necessarily macro like that's bearish for your assets.
It's bad as long as people are just risk offing, right? If you're in the phase where people are like, holy shit, world ending, I need dollars, and they risk off everything, then there's nothing ETH's going to do, right? It's going to get pulled down. Your hope is that there's going to be a lot of like dip buyers waiting in the wings there, a lot of people who have like a long-term thesis and they're going to gobble it all up, and that it's not going to go like completely to Nuketown, right? But it's still going to go down. But after a lot of that sort of panic and risk offing has like taken place, like eventually some of these fundamentals are going to come into play. Like, right, like ETH doesn't trade on like stock market earnings. It's going to trade basically on ETH activity, right? And at a certain point in time, if the market is done kind of risking off, even if like stocks are still going down, if activity on Ethereum picks up, if the average gas price starts going to 30, 40, 50, and like all this stuff is happening, like I agree with you, it will start diverging from macro. I just don't know if that's going to be in the next like 60 to 90 days. I think we are heading into a like very deflationary regime. I was kind of thinking maybe we weren't, but I've changed my tune on that after the last CPI print. And assets like ETH don't do well in times of deflation. They just don't. You want to buy them during like the peak of the deflationary sort of quadrant, if you will, and then kind of ride them up in the period after. But like you certainly don't want to buy it going into it as a generalized rule, and that's kind of like my main hesitation with the trade right now.
So, Steven, are you net long right now?
I am long right now. I mean, I've been very long since like 1,000 or so, with a lot. And I like to go like really all in so that I don't feel bad like taking a lot of profits. And like I probably will take a lot of profits if merge volatility gives me like 2K or something again. Like I'll probably shave like 20, 30, 40% off of that and feel okay about it. And like I said, I'm probably going to replace a lot of my exposure with spread trades instead, because I think you can express like the same kind of thesis, but you don't have to be exposed to this like macro variable, right? Like I don't think there's any macro variable where like the Fed's going to do something and then Ethereum goes down and then like Harmony 1 goes up or something. Like it's just I just don't think it I just don't think it works that way. So I'll probably take like a few of these bets. I want to bet on ETH versus Bitcoin. I want to bet on ETH versus these things. I may even bet on some other spreads within crypto and then like keep a bunch of cash. But I don't want to be, I don't really want to be like 100% all in long ETH post merge with like these two meetings coming up and all the stuff I see.
Speaking of spread trades, David, I thought it was hilarious on your earlier live stream. You're talking to Hal Press, and apparently he didn't know he was on a live stream. He was about to give some alpha, and out of nowhere he's
hilarious?
like, "Well, at least this isn't like being live streamed anywhere. You guys won't mention my trades to anyone, right?" And you're like, "No, Hal, we are live streaming right now."
Right now. You are live. There are 600 people that just watched that.
That was great.
I thought it was pretty clear that I told him, like, yeah, this is going to be a live stream. I sent him, like, yeah, casual, like, unscripted, no agenda hangout. And I guess, like, when I say, like, there's no agenda, I mean a podcast. I mean a live stream.
I am a
I don't
perpetual
like put my
content
friends in
creator.
a room and have, like, a podcast agenda for that.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I do wish you would have let him slide an extra 30 seconds to divulge the alpha, but he definitely met some spread trades coming up.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm sure he'll disclose later what he played out, but he did mention playing the spread between some of these liquid staking tokens and ETH, which could be
It would
interesting.
be a cool like post-mortem after the merge to go just like how what like give us the play-by-play of everything you did, just as like a case study, I think, of just like, you're never going to repeat the merge, but it's still going to be like good learning lessons and still like good examples for things you can play into the future on like similar scenarios.
Absolutely. Like I think it is nice when some of these maybe more experienced traders kind of open the book, even if it's in prior scenarios, like after the fact, where we've done a few episodes on from hodl to trader, and those seem to be some of our most popular episodes. So I do think a lot of people kind of even if they don't want to go full degen, would like to even in some of their dreams maybe like to think like a trader and maybe play out some trades for fun at least. So I am going to bring up another chart that we talked about here. So this is a net liquidity chart I'm going to bring up. So this is from the Twitter handle 42 Macro. He shared this net liquidity chart. And so some of you guys on Bankless who have heard Arthur Hayes talk about net liquidity, maybe very briefly, or read some of his articles, there have definitely been some larger macro analysts who've been looking at this for a while and used it to kind of call some maybe larger trend moves in risk assets. So here in the blue, you see net liquidity, which again is the Fed balance sheet minus the Treasury general account minus the reverse repo facility, and in red you got S&P 500, and in black you got Bitcoin. And I think Stephen, last time we were talking about this, you kind of mentioned that Bitcoin specifically kind of front runs this net liquidity move. Do you think that's kind of something we'll continue to see?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of question the usefulness of this chart because I think that crypto sort of front runs it anyway. So you're going to be kind of driving in the rearview mirror to a degree. It's wonderful to behold though, to look at. I mean, there's obviously quite the correlation there. There's also just so much like short-term variance and noise. It's not like every time it ticks up, you can just go long, and then it's kind of, I don't know. It's an interesting thought exercise and a thing to keep in mind for me. But like, I haven't decided if there's like actual actionable kind of signal in it yet. But I'm open to it. I like the sort of range of outcomes you can get from it here, like that top and bottom line with the S&P. I think is useful for kind of planning out bull and bear cases and like keeping yourself sane. But
I mean,
yeah,
I do think there is a level of being able to somewhat predict, how this blue line specifically will move, because the Fed balance sheet is kind of this pre-described rundown that they're giving, which doubles. The rundown doubles in September, and the U.S. Treasury General Account, they provide quarterly like funding announcements, which let them know, where they expect the balance of the U.S. Treasury to be by the end of the quarter. And then the big, kind of wild card is certainly the reverse repo facility, which has over $2 trillion of it. So, for bulls out there looking for a run, if people take their money out of money market accounts and decide to take credit risk, decide to take duration risk, decide to invest that money, that over $2 trillion could certainly drain from the reverse repo facility. But right now, you're earning, people who are depositing their money are certainly earning more in the reverse repo facility at the most risk-free type of rate than short-term treasuries. So I do think at least two of them you can predict, and then the third one you can kind of use updates in economic fundamentals like the CPI report to see, are people willing to take some risk in the future?
Yeah, I think if you just like really smooth brain this, it's just sort of like inflation is bad. I thought it was going to sort of kind of rubber band back the other way. I did think there was a really good chance inflation was extremely sort of supply driven and had a good chance of kind of reflexively bouncing back and kind of doing like a bullwhip. And I thought that the market was very badly positioned for that. I thought that in July, and that's why one of the reasons why I went long. But I thought that kind of continued to be the case because I stayed long. I don't think that's the case anymore. And if that's not the case and this stuff is persistent, then just without overthinking it, like just rates have to be higher for longer now. And high rates are bad for risk assets. They're going to knock stock multiples down. They're going to make investing in bonds more attractive relative to buying stock. Like why would you buy some crazy volatile NASDAQ stock where you can get like 5% on a 1 year duration treasury in the not so distant future? It's going to be a thing, and it's going to be messy. But like I will say that I think a lot of people don't accurately talk about the whole markets pricing in stuff and front running stuff. Like everybody's always like they're tightening, so it's going to go down. And that is true for now, but like with most trends, if you're in the middle of the trend, you're going to be correct as long as that is happening, right? But the art is sort of anticipating the end of the trend. Like when is the trend going to peak, right? It's not going to be so easy as like just Jerome's is like, okay, I stop, and then the market just goes up. It's not going to be that easy. Like I think historically stock market bottoms, for example, have front run the bottoming in earnings by 6 to 9 months, right? So there's a pretty big gap there, and I think there's a good argument to be made that crypto is going to be like way ahead of that, right? So I think you kind of do have to do a certain amount of like just biting on something and buying when it's really, 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 really painful, like if you're a long-term person, because like I do think the reversal at some point will be pretty swift, and it is going to front run it to a degree. But I'm just skeptical that now is exactly the time right now.
Right. So we've been talking a little macro. Let's get back to a little E stuff. So I have the ultrasound money site up. Looks like we're about 3 hours and 20 minutes away to.
Yeah, people are actually confused by that. I'm monitoring the chat that we have for the future EF live stream.
Mm-hmm.
People are like going between websites, being like, "Guys, is it in 3 hours or 2 hours or like when the hell is it?"
Yeah, I'm confused.
It's
So.
between like 3 to 4 hours from now.
Okay.
What does Bortle say? Bortle.wtf is the other one.
And I mean,
5:27 is 1:27 a.m.
Google is pulling it from. They're saying 3 hours.
Google's been
33
weird.
minutes.
The Google stream has been
They're
weird.
pulling it from Ethereum.org. They say.
No one really knows, but we'll figure it out soon. Soon, TM.
sorry, I was texting my girlfriend if she could very quietly bring the tequila bottle inside the room so I could refill.
We're also being asked to take shots, so that's probably good timing. I just read
Okay,
that.
well,
By the
incoming.
chat.
That is incoming.
The chat has never seen me.
Emma
drink beer
Paradox.
on
Shout
live
out
stream.
to Emma.
Ready?
Can you guys take some shots or something?
So we're actually like 2 hours behind the original target time. It's because like miners are starting to turn their rigs off. You guys notice that?
Yeah, the hash rates
Yeah, I
started
was thinking
to
that
drop
probably
off.
happened.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. People are.
are you shocked that it just started happening? Like I thought this would be weeks in advance. That
Why not?
I'm
just go
surprised
till the
that
end.
miners haven't like rushed for the exits on their GPUs. Like GPUs are still valuable pieces of equipment, and so you would kind of expect like some of them to want to start to like front run all of the GPU dumpage. But it looks like not very many are doing that, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'd imagine the smart ones who knew this was coming, who believed this was coming, maybe didn't upgrade hardware and just kind of like fully depreciated that hardware to zero. And David, do you have any idea of like what percentage of miners might become stakers or will be stakers? Do we know if that's a minority or a majority?
I don't know that particular number. I do know that some mining, big miners, big mining entities are like planning on making that elegant transition from mining to staking. As soon as like staking begins, they just turn into a staking company. Not all miners have done this, but some definitely have. Some have baked this into, and like some miners are like definitely aligned with Ethereum, with the core devs, and they're not like antagonistic, and they are like highly aligned with the Ethereum network. So they're not just like these mercenary miners. Not all miners are like that though. So it's a nice balance. I think it's a minority that are like super highly aligned with Ethereum that are going to ultimately become stakers, but like a significant minority though.
That's kind of nice to hear. I think like would they? You think they would be the type to kind of set up their own validators? I mean, I imagine someone with
Certainly,
that kind of
yeah.
hardware experience would be their own validators, not using any liquid staking options. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not like, it's not like one company, right? It's like a company with investors, with like all owners. It's like the most logical thing to do with that capital after the fact. And like imagine if you're an investor of a Ether like mining agency company, and you've been, I don't know like how dividends work like that, but like as soon as Ethereum turns to proof of stake, like you actually don't have to worry about like a lot of like the capital reinvestment, because you don't have to play that game anymore. That game's over. And so like the amount of ether that you've ended up with is the amount of ether that you've ended up with. So at that point, like this thing just like spits out staking yield to its owners from now into perpetuity, I guess.
Right. So
All right, should we
I'm
take
curious,
some,
like after,
I want to take some
do you have a
questions
shot?
soon.
Ready?
Well, no, I do
Okay.
not have a shot. I have questions.
Okay. Well,
So,
before we
keep
go into
going, but
questions, I
wanna go
wanted to
into
get
this.
real quick. I just want to go into right after the merge. There are certainly some people. We're definitely not any of them playing this as kind of like an airdrop play, and we might see some people selling after that to claim their ETH proof of work. Do you guys imagine that will be a pretty quick move after the merge? I guess that might happen in a few hours.
That's what Hal Press is saying. It's like just like snap back. So many people are playing the ETH POW like airdrop game that they're creating hella spreads. and like other people like Hal Press are just like pocketing that arbitrage.
Yeah, I played that very badly. Honestly, I'm very ashamed at myself for how badly I played that.
Yeah.
If I could
Sounds
go
right.
back in time, I would just like deposit all my like ETH into Aave and just collect the massive funding and call it a day and just
Right.
go on with my life.
Dude,
Like,
the funding's up to like 75% right now.
Oof.
last I checked FTX perps, it was like 350% annualized or something insane. Like
That is a lot.
I'm getting paid massively. Like I've made 1%, almost 1% today on my long just from the funding,
Wow, that's nuts.
which is hilarious.
Can you imagine?
But Hal's way of playing the future spreads was really smart, and I saw that, and I was like, "Oh, I'm stupid." That was so simple and beautiful, and it was literally free money. It was free arbitrage, and that's why I love crypto, though, because I feel like you can really have an edge here. Like that was not that hard to think through. I just didn't think through it, right? Whereas in the TradFi world, like a lot of this stuff gets just zapped away by like quants with
Right.
supercomputers before you can even think about the idea. And here, there's just like bags of money lying around still. It's like it's so crazy to me.
Huh.
Armand, why don't you take over? Let's go to some questions. Have you been seeing some questions in the chat and in the Discord, maybe?
Yeah. I'm
No
seeing
questions, only shots.
some. that is the main request.
I don't think that's a question. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, questions or comments, or funny comments. I may read a funny comment. Drop it. All right. One question is, if the Ethereum surge, not the merge, will drop gas fees by 1,000x, shouldn't the merge lower the issuance to 99.9%? A 90% reduction in issuance is not enough. Any comments?
The answer is no. Those things are uncorrelated. And
Uncorrelated.
also, the surge won't drop transaction fees by that much. Yeah, I mean, it'll drop it by a lot, but not that much.
So that initial assumption is incorrect.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like connecting two very
Two different-
distant things.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand it.
This might be for you, Steven, or anybody. Can someone explain the spread between spot and perp? Why is it so high?
Yeah, I saw that this morning. I was longing a perp, and it was like 1560 when the the spot was like 1575, which is pretty outrageous. I mean, I just think there's just insane demand for the perps, right? Like, funding is a way to sort of equalize that demand, but at the end of the day, like somebody has to take the other side of the trade, and even if you crank the funding up to infinity and still there's not somebody wanting to take the other side of the trade at that price, then eventually price just goes down. So I think that is, oh god, speaking of price going down, this candle just absolutely nuked here. Whoop. I'm okay, I think. Anyway, but yeah, I got really close to my stop there. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like trading right now is like suicide. I think the volatility for the next few days at least is going to be absurd, and I don't know. I recommend everybody just sit on their hands for a bit and just watch
Just
the
do
fireworks.
nothing.
Yeah, the experts only, and
Yeah.
damn.
That is a gnarly candle.
We kind of covered this in one of our episodes of going from hodler to trader. I think it was like 5 episodes ago, but maybe like a short version of a compilation, a sort of distillation of that answer. Trading strategies for non-traders. I think a lot of people, their first question is just like very basic around platforms, methodologies, things to keep in mind, how to go from non-trader / hodler to trade strategies, especially on some of the things that were just discussed today. Anybody?
Sorry, what was that? I was staring at a chart.
Steven's trying to figure out if his limit
Did you
orders
just
are
go into
triggering.
that? Yeah, you totally did.
I'm not good at multitasking. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not liquidated right now.
Steven, are you tilting right now? Be honest.
No, this isn't like a size of position where I'm gonna
Okay.
cry or anything. but it's enough to make me watch.
Do you want me to repeat it or just move on?
Yeah, could you repeat
I'm
the
not-
question, sir?
Going from non-trader to trader, like really, like
What
give me
about
the
it?
just give me it, give me the like. Okay, you're waking up tomorrow, and you want to start to think like a trader. As I said, we just covered it, 5 episodes ago. But what's the, taking the hour-long version down to the, 30-second version?
Step one is to realize that like hodling is sort of like a meme designed to make you be constant like exit liquidity for people.
That wasn't always the
so-
case, though, was it? So when did that become a meme in your mind?
To be fair, I think hodling is like a fine
I don't-
strategy if you just
I don't
prefer
think that
to
was
do
a fair
nothing
take.
at all.
I don't know.
I mean, it is a fair take because in order to trade, like the first thing you have to do to trade is to do something other than just buy the position and hold it forever. Like if you buy a position and hold it forever, you're just like an investor. That's not a trade. So you have to
Correct.
first be comfortable with that idea. If you're not comfortable with that idea, you shouldn't trade, right? You should also like probably punch yourself in the balls a few times and then make sure you're okay with like the pain because it's a
Punch yourself
not
in the
like a
balls or
fun-
taint or tan or
no, the taint's
it's a safer way.
The taint's
I
too
think that
simple.
I don't know about this self-inflicting pain. I think you just tan them and move on.
I think
David, someone got a screenshot, by the way, just so you know. Oh God.
No, I think a like a hybrid strategy for people is to just shift their investment time horizons to like 2-3 year type stuff because then at least you can sort of play cycles. I don't think you have to be particularly gigabrain to buy that like ETH accumulation we had in 2020 and to take profits when it went like absolutely moon status on the way up, right? Like you didn't need a quant, you didn't need any fancy stuff. You just had to accumulate, have patience, trade around, being able to hold positions for more than a year. You collect capital gains. That's like, I know 2 years isn't trading. I said this was a gateway to trading. Swearworks. God, this chat.
Oh, I love that you keep an eye on the chat. All right,
Is that one of your guys? Or is that one of my guys?
it might be one of your guys.
But
There
Like,
are
that's-
guys,
I feel like
David.
that's a
They're
good-
all our guys and gals. There you go.
it's a good gateway for people. Like, if you actually want to trade, like I'm a big believer in set aside like a tiny amount of money and then just go trade it. Like I don't know, watch some YouTube videos, join some Discords, just try to figure out who's a good trader, who's a bad trader. Try a bunch of stuff. Like you're gonna lose money, you're gonna pay for lessons, right? But like I kind of feel like that's the best way to do it. You just jump in the fire with small amounts of capital, like enough to kind of get your juices going a little bit, but not so much that you're going to get wrecked. And I think that having the real money there and just kind of just doing stuff, like I think if you are constantly learning and you're constantly iterating and you're constantly like asking questions and just every day evaluating everything you're doing, I think eventually you will figure stuff out. Like if you're built for that. But like I don't think there's like a book you can read. I don't think there's like a college course you can take. It's like and it's hard and sort of unpleasant, even though it's glamorized. But
Well,
that's what I would do.
I will say, like, between the four of us on the Alfalfa podcast, I'd say, Steven and Eric are definitely the more active traders, where Armand and I, kind of more long-term investors. And one thing I've learned from both of you. Yeah, we think. I think we're pretty
Everyone
good.
thinks.
Yeah. But one thing I've learned from you guys is that, and it doesn't get to play a lot with traders, is that the best traders actually focus a lot more on risk management than they do, trying to rip gains, right? And specifically, you and Eric have talked about, when sizing bets, when looking at trades, you're obviously looking for asymmetric risk return, but you're also making sure that you don't lose a large amount of money on any single trade, because you lose money, you're out of a job in terms of a trader. So I don't know, any kind of risk management guidelines that you think are good to keep in mind? Because I think it doesn't get as much play as the upside returns that most traders talk about. Get a little
And that's a big-
survivorship bias there.
Yeah, so I think that's something huge that you bring, Nick, to the discussion almost every week. And that's the kind of approach that you take. It's that my sort of pathway to trading is really minimizing risk, and you like to have fun with it. I think I really like that aspect of what you do, which is like you take a small amount and you go, okay, this is going to be my hedge. This is going to be my little hedge bag, and I'm going to have fun with this. And I think that's a really healthy way to do it. But you also don't have a lot of time to be able to do it as a full-time sort of trader the way Steven does. And then that's where we tap into what he's doing and learn. And you're sort of extrapolating that and tapping into that and going like, what would that look like in a 5-minute version in my day, which I think is like a really great, smart way to do it.
I think, like you said, like the number one thing, a lot of people think that trading is predicting price movement, and it like, at least to me, it's not. It's managing risk, capping downside, and just putting yourself in favorable positions where if you're right, you reap like a large reward relative to what you lose. And you plan ahead for multiple scenarios ahead of time. Like, you're not like, I think it's going to go do this. You're like, if price goes here, I'm going to long under these circumstances. And if it goes here, I'm going to short under these circumstances. And a lot of guys get heat on Twitter, right? The meme is like, oh, so it could go up or down, thanks. And they want like people to be Nostradamus, but it's not really how it works, you know? Somebody here asked a decent thing. Was it drag?
By the way, Steven, what a lie.
What's that?
That you can't multitask. You literally responded to that 2-year trading comment in the middle of your rant. So you actually are a phenomenal, phenomenal. The beer's kicking in.
I'm not lying. I have no recollection of that. Did I just do it? Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I can't process like two things. I can't multi-thread. Very bad multi-threader. I can go like really deep on one thread, but like two things. I am like just absolutely terrible at multitasking.
You're not alone.
Yeah, some guy asked a good question here though. He's like, do you keep like separate accounts? Do you have like a spot? Yeah, like I have separate accounts. Like I segment into sort of long-term spot stuff, and I often just sort of like buy. Like this year, I've been buying a lot of nukes and just hedging, right? So like I'll buy, and then if I get kind of sketched out on the market, like I might short with like 20% of that portfolio instead of selling, and I do like that approach personally. I also segment accounts. Like I have like I guess my hodler account is not really in an exchange. It's in a wallet, and it just sits there. But even on the exchange, like I do longer term kind of swing trading, and I also I think I'm a bad day trader, but I still have a day trading account, and I keep it separate from the other accounts. And I'm like, it just helps me mentally segment. It's like, okay, when I'm in this account, I'm day trading, and I'm not risking any of the funds in the other account. And in this account, I'm range trading or doing the more midterm stuff. So that I like that, but I think you got to do what works for you.
I like it.
So I put
holding on to 0.08.
Ooh, let's
That was
see.
that was a nasty wick down.
Yeah. All right. So let's take a look at the ETH BTC ratio. We're just below. Yeah, we're basically at 0.08.
0.08. Trend is your friend. Look at
We're
that.
fine. It's
To the
going.
right.
It's going to
Great.
0.3. We're gonna have great lives.
Where's the double? David. I think it was one of the roll ups. You're like, okay, well, there's going to be a flippening, and then there's going to be the multiple flippenings after that, like the double
Yeah,
flippening.
the lappening.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is lappening?
I haven't heard about the lappening. Is that a thing?
I haven't
Oh,
heard.
I just created that just now. But I'm gonna totally run with that. There's
So
the flippening,
it's
and then
the
there's the
flip.
lappening.
It's a flip, but you've done a full lap around the course. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the second flip.
Yeah, I love that.
Uh-huh.
So, what's the exact price of the flippening? Like what, 0.016 ish, 5 ish?
Go to ratiogang.com.
Okay, can I safely go to that live?
Yeah.
Okay, let me make sure I type this in
Don't
correctly.
worry, bro. There's no taint.
There you go.
All
I know
right.
it from memory.
All right, perfect. Oh,
flipping 0.1589. There you go.
I like the confetti action on this site.
I love this.
Yeah, confetti action is because we're halfway there.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I like this site. I've never used this before. This is amazing.
Yeah, I like it.
So, David, when you play this trade, you're obviously using some leverage, right? And because when I think about, buying spot ETH and thinking about a 10K ETH and above, we're talking multiples return. But when we're talking about trading, I don't know, a 0.055 ratio to a 0.08 or maybe even a 0.15, doesn't sound as juicy as just buying spot ETH, but I imagine that's where the leverage comes into play and where you can get some.
Right. So I've
extra yield.
taken some of my spot ETH and I have made a leveraged long ETH BTC position with that spot ETH. So I get more AMP on my spot ETH if it goes up versus Bitcoin.
Wait, how did you make that position? Did you just do it in Aave?
Yeah, just an Aave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Simple. I like it.
Yeah. Keeping it simple. I don't have to worry. I can sleep well at night. Cuts out the macro market most of the time. And like usually lately, like you would still get kind of messed by the macro market because Ether would go down versus Bitcoin when the crypto prices as an industry would go down, but not lately. Not lately. And lately it's been doing just fine.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I mean, I feel like the tide shifted a while ago, and I think a lot of people have awakened to that, but a lot of people haven't yet.
Right.
It used to just be such a meme. Like Bitcoin goes down and takes the market with it. It really does feel
Bitcoin sneezes,
like the
rest of the market like
doesn't
has
care
disease,
anymore. Like I don't know if it feels that way to you. Maybe you're a little rose tinted glasses, but like I don't feel like the market cares about Bitcoin right now. I feel like the market cares about ETH, and I don't know. Maybe that's hopium. Maybe that's me talking.
I don't know if both of those things are true, but I definitely, because those are separate statements, right? The market doesn't care about Bitcoin. The market then cares about ETH. I'm not sure that second one is 100% true, even though I want it to be true. But I definitely have gotten like just a sense of just like Bitcoin maxi cope is all over the place. Mm-hmm. And even like if you're in Solana or Avalanche or even in like an ETH competitor, you still don't care about Bitcoin. Like no one cares about Bitcoin these days. It's just like the boring asset that even if you believe in it, you don't even talk about it. And honestly, like when crypto is such an intention-driven economy, it doesn't really matter if there's holders. It matters like what are people talking about?
Right. Yep. Maxis are talking more about ETH than they certainly are BTC. And anything that's, I mean, I feel like people don't know, but in the weekly roll up, you guys have a Bitcoin section that you typically it's saved for. Some
Bitcoin things
news.
go there.
Yeah, Bitcoin things actually go there, but there's actually nothing to
There's
discuss.
no news. There's nothing to talk about.
Oh man. All right, so we see we had a nasty little candle there. So I don't know. We'll see what kind of price action we get. Let's see how many hours away we are.
1596. We're fine. We're fine. We're about like 2.5, I think.
It's fine. There's going to be volatility. It's going to go all over the place right now. This is natural. Sit back and you can just sit back and chill at this point.
Got a long night.
Yeah, it's going to be a long week and days. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen. But like if you're trading with tight stops right now, you're completely effed.
So David, like, I mean, for anyone who hasn't worked with software engineers before, watching code deploy isn't the most exciting thing in the world. There's no real way to know, exactly did things go well unless you want to look at like an exception log, which is again not the most exciting thing to watch. So how are you going to be like tuning in to just see how things are going when things go live? What's happening? Are things going well or not?
Yeah, see, the interesting about how this is going to work is that things are going to look like they're broken no matter what. And it's going to freak out a lot of people who don't know that. Because, like, Ethereum, I was actually hoping to talk about this. Ethereum isn't one canonical thing, right? There are many clients, and then there are many clients connecting with other clients. And, like, when you stitch all those things together, those become Ethereum. But then you also have stuff like Etherscan and Infura and MetaMask as like layers around that. And each one of these things are like part of the broader Ethereum. Ethereum isn't like, there's no center point. There's no place where Ethereum is or is not. There's only like these interwoven components that make up Ethereum. And so it starts with the clients. And the clients, like some clients can break. And if the majority of clients don't break, we're good. We're Gucci. Right. It's fine. And then on top of that, like one of the reasons why it's taken so long to make this merge happen is like, not only do we want the clients to go through flawlessly, but we'd also like the next layer out of infrastructure to also go through flawlessly. And so that's like stuff like, Infura, mempools, blah, 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 blah. And so like all of that would also be great if it didn't break. But if it did break, Ethereum would still be fine. And so like there's this like shell, like it's an onion. Ethereum's an onion. There's multiple layers. And we're trying to make as many layers as possible not break as we go into the merge. But so long as that core makes it through, it's fine. The merge is going to be fine. We'll fix the remaining layers after the fact. But the point is like Ethereum, the merge is supposed to be just like good enough. It's just like most of it is supposed to not break. And the parts that do break will just be able to repair themselves after the fact. And so like, what from a user perspective, if you're sitting here on your browser, like refreshing a page, like that's the thing that's going to break because it's like all of the layers away. And so like all these like normies and people that don't understand this concept are going to be watching the merge and they're going to see like red bars on their screen. It's like the merge didn't work. Like the blockchain's not syncing. The website isn't syncing with the blockchain, blah, blah, blah. And we're not actually looking at like what's really going on here. And so you're going to get clarity about 30 minutes later, and then you're going to get even more clarity like 2 hours later. But like if you're looking like, is this a binary thing? Let me refresh my page to see if the merge worked or not. Like you're going to freak out because you're going to think that it didn't work. But like you need all the surrounding infrastructure to catch up with this transition that is made. And that's going to take like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to put this only one binary website that I think you mentioned on a previous live stream. HasETHmerged.com, yes or no? And you get a quick answer. So confirmation, no is the answer right now.
No, we have not merged.
Yeah, but Dave, you made a good point. Like ETH is not one thing; it's all these different layers, and it was really interesting to hear that if we look at all the risks, most of the risks reside with the clients. And, right. I don't know if there's a scenario where we have to fork or some form of like reverting back. But it's
just I just don't know how that's possible. That would be the weirdest scenario.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it seemed like the clients are the ones who are going to have to do the updating. And you only need is it 66% participation rate?
Yeah. I mean, 60. I mean, even if it was below 66%, like, if it's below 66%, then like the client teams where the bugs are just get to work and fix it and get it above 66%. The thing is like we've had the most recent shadow fork. It was like a 95% like participation rate. And like all the other shadow forks before that were like a little bit less, but like there's money on the line on this one. Like everyone's going to lose money if they're not online. And so it's going to be the most incentivized thing to get right out of all the ones that have already gotten right at 95%. So it would have to be such a new thing that hasn't been like discovered yet. It would be coming from so far out of left field. It'd be crazy. I'm leaving like all my receipts on the table for like weeks.
Right. I mean, the client teams are I think got to be the ones who are in addition to the application teams, but the client teams specifically have to be the one who might be possibly more nervous than core devs at this point. And I wonder, I think Hal Press has been the unique one as an investor who's been involved in these calls. I certainly haven't. But I wonder how involved most of the client teams have been in these test scenarios. But you got to think they got to be more nervous than maybe the core devs.
Yeah. I think really talking to Tim Bako or listening to Tim Bako and Danny Ryan, like it's not like they're necessarily nervous. It's just like they know there's going to be some post-merge cleanup to do, and so they're just like waiting for that mess to come their way to figure out what needs to be cleaned up.
Are they in
the janitor squad?
Yeah, are they in U.S. time zones or are they spread across the world? Because it's going to be
spread across the world.
All right, well then
it's mostly U.S. and Europe. There's one, I think Nimbus is in Australia. Yeah, it's somewhere between. Tim is in Vancouver, I think the farthest east you go is like Germany, and then you have like Nimbus, which is in Australia.
Nice.
David, there's a guy in the chat who is asking a legitimate question, which I know you've answered a lot, but he'd probably appreciate a quick answer from you. He wants to know how proof of stake ETH deals with a 51% attack.
A 51% attack. Okay. So a 51% attack is different in proof of stake, but not really. So like it always depends on like the facts and circumstances, right? Like why is 51% of the stake going in one direction, and like it depends on why it's happening and like how are like is it malicious? I'm assuming it's malicious. So like 51% of all ETH is like processing bad blocks and like forking the chain. The way that like it's I would need to brush up on it.
Yeah.
I'm not in the right headspace to answer that question.
So
it's objective.
for proof
To
of stake
refer him
to
to the Justin Drake episodes, I feel like those were
Yeah.
very good and just sort of
like
very
you can't fork the
comprehensive on this.
blockchain, you get slashed, right? And so like if you are the 51%, what you're really doing is you're censoring the 49%. And if you're the 49% is being censored, and say like the 49% is the good guys, like the Ethereum broad community, and 59% is like Coinbase ordered by OFAC, then we do like a user activated soft fork.
Right.
Like, that's what you do there. But it really like we need more like I need more like things to go off of to talk about like why is it being 51% attacked.
But David, I mean, when we're talking about a 51% attack or a hypothetical one, I mean, aren't we talking about some of these like liquid staking options? I mean, like I'd imagine like we're basically talking like Lido and Coinbase in order to make up 51%. So, I mean, we do have some
like two of the biggest entities, I think.
Yeah, so there would definitely be some collusion in that scenario. I don't think everything's decentralized enough.
Right.
And
plus, like, remember, it's not like Coinbase and Lido. If those people start like doing the attack, like users just withdraw their ETH.
Right.
And if they don't, then like we have bigger things to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, the game theory certainly plays out from there, right? And yeah, there's bigger things to worry about for sure. Yeah. Can I get a check-in? What are you guys drinking right now? Because I brought the bottle of tequila in the office here, and I've been slowly pouring it away.
I'm going a little too hard on the Hibiki right now, and I have to wake up early to fly to Eric. So
yeah,
I haven't
$1
packed
million
yet
cowboy is waiting for me, and I'm a little worried about the level of aggressiveness waiting inside of that.
Oh, is that the bar with like the saddles and the bar stool?
It's a rite of passage. It's a Jackson Hole rite of passage. That is the one, indeed. Yeah.
David,
right,
what
brother?
The bear that was killed by a man with his hands. Yeah, it's all in there.
he's in that bar. David, when do you get into Jackson Hole? When am I going to see you?
I get in a couple hours before the reception on Friday.
On Friday.
Wow.
All right,
I
perfect.
get in 4 p.m.
Wow.
4 p.m. Friday.
Okay.
Dude,
Are we
you-
staying at the same hotel?
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
You better truck it, brother. Couple hours. That's gonna be fun.
Dude, I'm gonna be so hungover.
Wait, what time's your flight?
Bad. I land at like 4 p.m. on Friday.
On Friday. We're leaving tomorrow, Steven. So we'll lay the groundwork.
Yeah, not looking forward to that.
Don't
You might be able to tell I'm having a party at my place. tomorrow.
don't miss the ceremony,
Oh.
David,
You
because
can tell from the background.
I have some taint jokes in my officiant speech. So please be on time.
No fucking way.
All right. Any
Wait,
last
real quick. I want to
questions?
show off
Yes.
my cowboy gear here. I got
Oh
a
my
nice
god, beautiful.
cowboy thing, and I even
You gotta
bought
turn off
like
your
a,
screen. Turn off your screen. Share.
I don't. Oh, is that why it's going on? All right.
Yeah, we're
let's turn
still
off the
just
screen
looking at
share.
a chart.
Just looking at this fucking chart. Let me see.
I mean, I love
Oh.
looking at charts. But here we go. We got a nice little cowboy gear set up. Bolo tie.
That's very fitting for you.
Bolo tie and a belt buckle. All still have the tags on them. Clearly, not the type of person to wear.
Damn.
Have a lot of cowboy gear, but
Wait,
Jackson Hole.
wait.
Yeah.
David, you're arriving Friday or Saturday?
Friday.
Okay, no, that's just the cowboy party. The actual wedding is
Oh.
yeah, Saturday.
Is that not what the word reception's for?
I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was a
we're
cowboy party. Reception is after the ceremony on Saturday. There we go.
Yeah.
Right.
You had
I'm
me.
getting in on Friday.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yes. Yes.
All right, plenty of time for festivities.
Glad the Bankless account is adding context in the chat.
That's also
Yeah,
David.
people are like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Oh man.
Guys, on the Alfalfa pod, we talk about ETH a lot, but we also don't talk about ETH a
We
lot.
talk about
so-
God. We talk about psychedelics.
Talk about other things once
we
in a
talk
while.
about porn, guns,
God.
homelessness.
Don't make me put the stinger back on.
These are just words. What is all this? What is all this speech control, David?
But there's
Just
a whole
mutes me.
week worth of Alfalfa podcast that includes David Hoffman, including a little politics episode, including a little life episode.
Yeah, what
They're
was
all
the
in there.
politics
Okay, so
episode?
for the full context, for all the Bankless listeners that listen to me hanging out in San Diego, these are the friends that I met in San Diego, and they have their podcast, Alfalfa Podcast. And so since they were doing the merge live stream, I was like, oh, I'll show up on your guys' merge live stream, but their live stream didn't work, and so only the Bankless live stream worked, and that's why we're all here today. So meet my San Diego friends, also the co-host of the Alfalfa Podcast. So here's a link to their YouTube channel. You guys can go subscribe to them there.
and
There's a lot of overlap between the Bankless community and the Alfalfa community.
for sure, especially in our Discord, there's a lot of Bankless people in there, and David was so kind enough to host us on a Layer Zero, which was a lot of fun. We hung out at David's house and chatted a little ETH and forecast for the future. But that certainly helped, Alfalfa Podcast, like really get its nice little kickstart.
There's a really nice comment here by Luca Nascimento Benedetti. He says it sounds like an all right podcast. Thank you, Luca.
That's how it starts.
Sounds pretty all right.
I think on the Layer Zero podcast, we talked about like Bankless is where you go to like you go to school, you go to learn, you go to like get your class notes and learn up on a new topic, and then Alfalfa is kind of like and this is maybe why we're drinking on this live stream is it's where you go after class, you go to the bar, and you go hang out to think about what do we think about this? Is there a way to make money off this? And chat about it with some of your close friends. So that's been what we're up to. Maybe why it's maybe the first time you're seeing David have a sip of alcohol
A drink on the Bankless stream.
Yeah,
a
exactly,
drink
on the Bankless.
I finished it. It's all
Good.
gone.
Good.
He's a
Gradually,
coffee
then
pilsner.
suddenly.
Armand,
So you see me drinking Friday morning on the roll-ups.
you might need to on that roll up. You might need to pair some coffee with some alcohol to keep
Some Baileys.
Yeah, exactly. Armand, have we seen any
All right, guys.
questions
I got a long night ahead of me, so I'm gonna have to tap out of here sometime.
No,
soon.
it's time for me to go to the bar. If you're easily offended, please don't subscribe. Otherwise, we'll see you in our Discord on the podcast. And David, thanks for hopping in, man. And you saved us actually with the stream because ours just didn't even work. So thank you, brother.
If anyone
I'll
has
see
a
you in a
link
couple
to YouTube streaming for dummies, send us the link. But this has been fun. Big night ahead of us. See you guys soon.
All right.
Cheers, guys.
Love you guys.
Love you all. Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Peace.